Haha.
Got it.
KDXU News Time. It's 8:35. It is a Thursday. Good morning and welcome. It's also time for another edition of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. We welcome in the voice of St. George Real Estate. Here's Jeremy Larkin.
Thank you, Mike. And Robert's offended that you didn't say voices.
The voices of
I'm
St.
not.
George Real Estate.
You.
I'm not at all.
How about if I say Robert and Jeremy? Now Jeremy's
Robert
mad
J.
because
DeBry.
gave
I mean
you-
McFarlane. Sorry.
Robert J. DeBryan Associates.
When I
No,
interviewed
that's
him,
not right.
I had the resume and I thought it said Robert J. DeBry, and I'm like, he's interviewing for a real
Because
estate
I'm
position?
Robert J.
But then I looked again and it was just Robert J. McFarlane.
Just
Just.
not bad though. I'll
Very-
take it.
Very good morning. Here's a fun trivia for you this morning, because it is a beautiful January day in St. George, Utah. I was driving my child over to La Escuela, as they say in Latino America. You guys understand, right? The school, Robert. I think
Oh,
you
okay.
understood.
Got it. That was a tough one for
I
me.
want to make sure. We're going to be doing a little Spanish course today. So I'm headed over to Tonawanda Intermediate School, and we passed Southgate Golf Course. I said, Matt, look at the golf course. And it was covered in frost.
Frosty-
It looked like
frosty
snow.
white.
Yeah, it looked like snow. He said, man, that's the whitest I've ever seen it besides when it snowed. And I helped him understand. Gang, if you're not a golfer, do you realize, so do you know what the rule is with frost in the morning?
I do not.
So they will not, Southgate Golf Club, by the way, is owned by the city of St. George. Golf club, golf course, I think clubs, a little liberal. They will not let players out until the frost is off. So, and really the frost only has to be off on the first hole, because once it's off on the first hole, they send them out, and then of course, the sun's gonna hit everywhere else. But that's the deal. So this morning, the second that sun hits that fairway of that first hole in green, then they'll send people out.
Interesting.
You did not know that.
I did not know that. I'm not quite as much of a golfer as I probably should be.
Should be. I have news for everybody. You don't need to be a golfer to be in real estate. People think that real estate agents just play golf and have lunch with friends.
Yeah, I think that's it. Right?
I don't play much golf, and I really don't have lunch often with friends. I have lunch occasionally with clients. But I am going to get out tomorrow. So I headed out. Thank you to my brother-in-law. He's got free golf at Sand Hollow. Sand Hollow was just, if you guys didn't see this, there was an incredible article in Golf Digest talking about, it was a feature on Sand Hollow Golf Course out there in Hurricane, out there near, Hurricane, Utah, near Sand Hollow, what do you want to call it? Reservoir. Not
That's
lake.
what it's called.
Thank you.
Lake.
Yeah, so very cool, and I will have the opportunity tomorrow afternoon to go out with these guys, with my father, and it is going to be a great time. But work must be done, and we got to sell some real estate first, don't we?
We have to.
We are.
It's not an option.
It's not an option. It's a non-option. Gang, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, say hi, shoot out some hearts or thumbs up, or let us know that you're there, or if you've got questions for us. This is fun.
We're on three. We're on
phones.
three. I have Facebook Live on mine. We got Jeremy's Facebook Live.
And YouTube Live.
YouTube Live.
How do you like that?
It's a new age.
And then, of course, we're on the radio, which you're listening to.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Mike. Incredible. So check this out. If you are a YouTuber, and some folks will say, yeah, I don't do Facebook Live, youtube.com/Go St. George TV, GOST George TV, youtube.com/Go St. George TV, and you will see us broadcasting live. Robert's running live, and I'm running live on Facebook.
Why
It's
not?
wild. It's wild. 94.9 FM, 890 AM, and we're going to talk about something really cool today. So Robert's with me. Robert's been in my organization now for pushing 3 years.
Pushing four.
Pushing 4. Thank you. Jesse's over that hump. So Robert's with us. He is, I talked to him on Facebook. I actually think he is a home pricing and home selling expert, and has been part of us now selling. I think we're at like almost 1,200 homes.
I think so.
Folks, that's a lot of properties. The average homeowner buys or sells every 7 years. And of course, that's once they're an adult and they're in the home.
Right.
Right, that doesn't start at age 0.
Yeah.
So,
You've been selling real estate a long time when you see a home hit the market and you're like, that home looks familiar.
Yeah,
And
I
then you
sold that.
realize, oh, that's because 5 years ago I sold that.
we sold that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. And I love to drive around and do that. And of course, I always tell my kids, I sold that. I sold that.
Yeah.
I sold that. I sold that. So it's been an interesting ride, and Robert's with us this morning. We're gonna be talking, so he really is, he's a home pricing and home selling expert. We're gonna talk about the 6 pricing misconceptions that actually cost sellers money.
Is there only 6?
There's a lot, but the 6 is, man, I'm telling you what.
It really boils down.
Yeah,
to those
it
6.
boils down to these 6, and it sounds like a lot. It won't, it's not a lot. It's really easy to digest. But this is a real issue right now because we have a lot of homeowners, a lot of home sellers who are, they're aggravated right now. Why?
Mainly why? Because homes are sitting on the market. I was just sitting down with a client. Their home's actually for sale as a for sale by owner right up here on Bluff.
Mhm.
And what happens a lot of times is for homes that were for sale by owner, they don't sell the home for
Correct.
a month, maybe 2.
Correct.
And then they reach out to a real estate agent and say, hey, what am I doing wrong? So that's what ended up happening with this family over here on Bluff. And we sat down, and I noticed that in the $400,000 to $500,000 price range, the active homes on the market have been sitting there for an average of 102 days.
It's a long time.
That's an average. So some have been more. Obviously, some are
Correct.
less. But that's 106 homes sitting on the market for an average of 102 days.
Yeah.
That's,
Yes.
that's
and-
not typical.
And here's the perspective for people. Last summer, most homes under $500,000. I mean, I'm not gonna give any specific other than under 500.
Mm-hmm.
They were sold in 30 days or less. And some folks, we sold homes. I was thinking about a home that we sold over on the Jenkins home on Canara in Green Springs, pseudo luxury home, 480,000. We had multiple offers.
Right.
We had 2 buyers competing. We sold another one in Green Springs in Silverstone. 2 buyers competing at 650,000 for that home.
Well, and I'm sure we have home builders listening to the show.
Yeah.
And I bet you more now than it's been in probably the last 3 years, spec homes have been sitting on the market.
Yeah, and it's gonna freak people out.
They weren't having to really do a whole ton of work
No.
trying to sell those before.
No,
and
no,
now
no.
it's a different game.
So
Just kind of seems like overnight.
it's interesting. This is so subtle that it throws people off, and so we have a lot of home sellers who are frustrated. Like, man, I thought it was a good market, and
Right.
what we want to talk about are the 6 pricing misconceptions that cost you money, and also reiterate that it actually is a great market.
The best,
It's
really.
an incredible market, and you know, the market that we were in for a little bit there was actually unsustainable, and was akin to giving your kid the keys to your Corvette and telling him to drive 120 down the freeway indefinitely, and assuming that nothing was ever going to go wrong.
Right,
Okay, at some point, okay,
right.
he's gonna hit something.
Yeah,
And that's what our real estate market was doing. It was careening out of control. You cannot have homes sell that quickly. You cannot have, look, we had appreciation in 2005, remember? 36%. We all remember how that turned out.
yeah. And I think that's probably the biggest challenge I hear more than anything as well. Well, in 2005, and they're always going back to this. Now we're looking
Right.
at 14 years ago.
Right.
Kids that were, in diapers are now driving cars, right?
Yes.
Like that long ago, they were saying, well, it was like this then. Why isn't it like this now?
Correct.
And the reality is we're looking at 2 different eras,
Bingo.
completely different eras.
Yeah, it's 2 different times. So it's fascinating because I mentioned a home in Green Springs at $650,000. It was sold for another radio personality who we've mentioned on air before with another firm in town. And he was delighted when I had 2 buyers competing against each other to buy his
Right.
home. The interesting part is that there was a 30-day period where the home was actually listed too high.
Right.
Let's just find out what the market will bring. And the second that price was brought in line,
Mhm.
we're going to share with folks today, Robert, that you cannot what a home?
You cannot underprice a home.
Not even possible. But Robert, I don't want to give my home away.
Right, and I understand that.
Yeah,
We all
Robert, but
understand.
Robert, I
Nobody
don't-
does.
Yeah, but Robert,
Do you know anybody, Mike, can I have your house?
no.
No.
No, he's not.
way.
He's not gonna
And
do it.
Robert, but I don't want to leave money on the table.
And we understand that. That is a valid concern, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to leave money on the table.
No.
So there's a strategy behind that.
And what we're saying is it's actually, this is incredible. I mean, I hope folks are listening who are selling right now, considering selling.
Mhm.
Builders, you cannot underprice a home. It's actually not possible, and we're going to talk about why.
Right.
Okay. Right.
And even in horrible markets, right? Even in a full buyer's market,
Uh-huh.
which we're not in one,
Uh-huh.
unless you're selling in the 600 and above, I mean, and really in some cases, depending on how unique the property is, that's not even a buyer's market, right? But for the most part, we're in a seller's market from top to bottom.
Well, we actually are.
So if you're in a seller's market, what does that mean?
That means that the benefit, the advantage is to the seller that that there's less supply, right? And the buyers are really hungry to gobble up the limited supply.
Yeah, it's the iPhone launch, right? There's not as many iPhones on the market, but they're going to charge you $1,200, and you're going to happily go pay that, which maybe
Correct.
isn't always true, and that can't happen forever, right? When I was reading
Correct.
an article about Apple doing that, running into issues with that, and at the same time, because we're in that seller's market, do you think Apple's like, you know what? I'm really worried about selling this. Could I've asked $50 more? Am I leaving
Right,
$50
right.
on the table? No, they're
Yeah,
not.
and this is so interesting. So let's talk about this. 6 pricing misconceptions.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to overview them. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Jeremy Larkin here, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. And I want to share something. I don't say this to impress, it's to impress upon you, right? So 1,200 homes is where we're at as a real estate group here in Washington County. If you can imagine that 25% of the contracts fall out. As a matter of fact, this last year, 19.6% of the contracts that buyers wrote on our listings, 19.6% fell apart.
Mhm. For one reason or another.
Yeah, the appraisal came in low, the buyer got cold feet,
The inspection came back
inspection
poorly.
came back poorly, they couldn't get financing,
Mhm.
right? Whatever, all right? 19.6%. So for us to sell 1,200 homes, we actually had to put on the market 120. We had to deal with 120%. But
Right.
the reality is it wasn't, because we probably spoke to 250 or 300% as many clients
To get those.
to get to there, okay? So you understand, folks, that we have literally had thousands. This is where the perspective, I'm
Yeah.
even baffled saying this out
Right.
loud. We have actually had tens of thousands of real estate conversations. Tens of thousands of conversations with buyers and sellers, okay? So it just gives some credibility to what we're talking about here. These scenarios never change. It doesn't matter whether you're in Cincinnati or Miami, Florida, or St. George, Utah. These are realities. Okay. 6 pricing misconceptions. Your home is not worth what you paid.
Nope.
Well, it could be, but it's not worth what you need. But Robert, I need $450.
We all
We all
need
need
$1 million,
we all need.
right?
It's not worth what you want.
Nope.
It's not worth what your neighbor says.
I disagree with you there. My neighbor, he knows a lot about real estate.
I know.
He sold
Yeah.
2 or 3 homes.
He sold 2 or 3 homes, and he drives for Andis Trucking, but
Right.
he's a real estate expert. It's not worth what your neighbor says. It's not worth what another agent says, no matter how bad they want to get your business.
Yep.
And it's not even worth what it costs to rebuild.
I think it's interesting you say it's not what another agent says. That includes yours truly.
Right. Because do we determine the value of a home?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So we don't make the market, we just interpret the market. So if Robert goes out, or myself or one of our team, and you hire us to sell your home, that we don't make the market. We don't come in and say, well, I think it's actually worth $425. We may say that based on all the data, and that's what we do, but we don't make the market.
Right.
In every market, for every product, who determines value, Robert?
The buyer. That's a T-shirt. That's a cell phone. That's a
Yep,
car.
everything.
Does not matter. A burger.
Yep, buyers determine value.
Always.
Um,
That's the free market.
Greatest example on the whole planet right now, at least I think is the greatest example. I'm a Disneyland fan. And I heard 30 days ago they raised their prices again.
Yeah.
And it came across Facebook or something, and I saw one of these blogs. It's like a Disney Insider's blog. And what they said is, doesn't matter. It's not deterring anyone,
Mhm.
right? Well, we're-
Netflix is another example.
Oh my gosh, right?
They raised the price of Netflix. They did a survey. How many people were going to stop using Netflix? 76% said that it wasn't going to phase them at all.
Mhm.
Of the remaining piece, only 3% said they'd probably stop watching Netflix. 3%. And they raised it like, I think it was, they raised it like $5 or something like that for the top plan.
Right. So buyers determine value, and here's the point. You may say, well, wait, if Netflix and Disney are raising the prices, I can too. No, what we're saying is the market's determining value.
Right.
So today, they said that it's $190 to buy a one-day hopper at Disney.
I got a
California
sidebar.
Adventures.
My sister,
Good grief.
my sister, she lives up in Salt Lake.
Mhm.
her and her family, it's been, 10 years since they've been to Disneyland.
Right.
They just went this last week. She's got a sweet picture of the whole family, all of them wearing fanny packs like it's 1980.
Everything's just regurgitated.
Isn't it so funny?
It is 1980 again.
It's so funny.
It's
man.
Marty McFly,
They were the
right?
best.
1985.
They were the best fanny packs. It was a
Oh,
good,
man.
good strong game. There's 6 of them,
You know
all
what,
with fanny packs.
I think next time I'm going back, I'm wearing a fanny pack.
You should rock it, man.
And you realize they spent thousands on tickets.
They did.
And it's not going to deter people. So until Disney raises their price to a level that the market says, ooh, that's out of range,
Mhm.
right? Here's another thing. So, folks, one of the challenges we have is that how many Disneylands are there? Well, there's about a half dozen,
Right.
right? There's Disneyland, Disney World, Tokyo, Paris. Is there 6? Is there 2 more that I don't remember? Okay, maybe that's it.
Asking the wrong guy.
Okay. How many homes are hitting the mark every month right now in Washington County?
About 300.
Yeah, another 3, and by the way, as many as 6 in a big month.
Oh, yeah.
300 to 600
Like the
homes.
one we're coming up to.
Yeah,
Right.
We're
right
in the
now.
biggest months right now. See, the difference is, folks, we're not Disneyland. These are homes. And even though you love your home, and I know that I realize how much time you spend on the custom cabinets, right, and the custom closet inserts. And that was important to you,
Mhm.
right? You put those in for your enjoyment. And Robert, did you enjoy them?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Did you put them in for the next buyer to use?
No, actually, I didn't.
Probably not. Well, but I read an article on home improvement that said that
Zillow told me that I could get a $15,000
Yeah,
return if I
yeah,
remodeled my
exactly,
bathroom.
Right. So the reality is buyers will always determine the value. So as we walk through this, what you paid. If you paid for your home, an exorbitant amount, 2005, understand that values fell in Washington County 46% since 2005, 2006. And they've come back, that was between 2006 and 11, and they have come back 42%. So overall. So we've almost gained back every bit of what we lost. But do you realize it took us 5 years to lose it and another almost 6 years to get it back?
Mhm.
Almost 7 years to
Mhm.
get it back. So if you follow that, in 2005, values were really high. In 2011, values were really low. In 2018, values are really high. And now it's 2019. Where can we only predict that values can realistically be in the next few years? Not higher.
Or if so, we had weather going down to come back up eventually.
Right. So for our home sellers right now, what I want to articulate is there's 6 pricing misconceptions. And when you put your home on the market at a price that, well, I paid this, well, I need this, well, I want this, well, my neighbor said this, well, an agent told me, well, do you know what it would cost me to rebuild this today? None of it has any bearing on what your home's worth. What your home will be worth is what a reasonable buyer with funds available and the initiative to move into your home will pay in today's market.
Mhm.
And what I'm trying to and want to make sure we convey is that even though right now, Robert, a whole bunch of your clients, my clients, the client in the area are frustrated saying, but I thought I could sell for blank. They need to understand that the price that they need to be at, which is probably 5% lower, is an amazing price.
Right.
Is an amazing price.
It's all
And if
perspective. It's
And
all
if
about
someone had
perspective.
told them in 2011, if someone had told these people in 2011, when I was selling Hidden Valley townhomes for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and HUD, government foreclosures, for $85,000.
Wow.
What's the Hidden Valley at right now? 170?
Maybe a little more.
If someone had told somebody in 2011, hey, your Hidden Valley townhome that you have to sell for 85 right now, it's going to go back to 170 or $80,000. It's going to double in value by 2018. Would it have kissed me on my face if they could have had the old almanac, the almanac from Back to the Future?
Back to the Future.
If I could have predicted that, would you have been very happy with me?
Biff, I would be super
I know you
happy.
would. So it is all perspective. So even though, and the most important 2 words of today's show are even though you feel frustrated today that the market won't quite bring what you want, you need to realize that the market is bringing you it is one of the highest price points in the history of American housing today.
Yep.
And what's going to have to happen is this. When you're going to have to amend that price, most of these folks are. And here's the challenge, Robert. If I know you're a baseball player. And a few other sports.
Go
you know.
Yankees.
You go
Yeah.
Yankees, hand-to-hand combat. I actually watched you do hand-to-hand combat that day with Creed. When the ball.
I won.
Yeah, when the ball, you kinda did. When the ball goes away from the field and it's rolling down a slope away from you, what is the only way to get to that ball?
Have to get in front of it.
Yes, because so folks envision, you're a kid, you're chasing a ball, it's rolling down a hill, and you're lunging, right? You're lunging.
Trying to stand, keep standing.
Tearing your
Try not to fall.
hip flexor. The only way to stop the ball is to get in front.
Mhm.
And so if folks want to actually capture the highest price for their home, it's important that they get in front of the ball and not be chasing the ball. And right now we have sellers who are chasing the ball. And in 6 months, they're gonna look back and say, what?
Man, I probably should have just made the move 6 months ago.
Yeah. But I was so convinced I needed that extra 5%, right? Why is it impossible to underprice a home?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons, but the main reason why is because once you hit that price where all of the buyers know that truly there's value, because it's value. It's just like going down the street and you're, hey, milk's $3 a gallon at Smith's,
Got
and
it.
it's $3.50 at Albertsons. I will drive across town to save that 50 cents, right? I will do whatever it takes to get the cheaper value or the value I see that's actually there. So if I price it to a spot to where I know multiple buyers are in it, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna I'm gonna worry about the fact that somebody else is gonna get it if I don't. And so I'm gonna pay 100% of what they're asking because I don't wanna lose it.
Do you think this is true even for the luxury, the high-end market? Let's
Oh.
talk to our luxury listeners right
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
You
I
sold-
think the luxury in this, specifically in this town, our high-end clients, the people that own second homes here or have retired here and put their nest egg in a beautiful home, because we get probably some of the most amazing homes for the best value, in my
We
opinion.
sure do.
In this town.
We sure do. We have folks come out of California and go, wait a minute, 1 million for this? This was 3 back home.
Exactly. It's unbelievable. The biggest mistake I see happen is realtors tell them that it's worth more than it really is, and the list to sales price of luxury homes is significantly different than it is even at the 5 and 600,000. At 500,000, they're getting 99.9% of their asking price. At $1 million, they're getting 92% of their asking price.
Good grief, you sold, okay, this is fun. I looked at this. You sold the most expensive home in Bloomington. It's the highest sale that I've seen in 5 years. What was the sales price?
$1,070,000.
Okay, 1.070, okay?
Right.
$1,070,000 on Jolly Circle.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful house, by the way.
Yeah, and there was some marketing that was done.
Absolutely.
We shot this killer,
Sweet video.
this video, and
We're gonna put it on Facebook.
yeah,
You guys can see
we'll
it.
link it up for you. Incredible video. A guy hitting a golf ball. It's actually me, but you can't really tell it's me
He
unless you know it's
shanked
me.
it. It wasn't even that good of a hit.
I actually hit it right on the green, I think. But we shot this incredible video, and there was some marketing that had to be created for this home. But no amount of marketing, nothing would have changed the value of that home.
Nope.
Here, so, but Jeremy, wait a minute. Do you mean that marketing doesn't matter? Oh, I didn't say it didn't matter. Marketing is actually, in a lot of ways, a defensive measure. It's a protective measure to ensure that you get all of the value out of your home.
Right.
But buyers won't pay you more than the value. They don't say, you know that video you guys shot? That was incredible, and I'm a really smart buyer that has enough money to spend $1 million for a home. I think I'll pay you an extra $100,000 because the video was so impressive.
Yeah, I was just blown away.
The video, right? The video was to make sure that we got them all the value. It is impossible to underprice your home because if you price your home even, quote, below market, you will have multiple buyers bid against and raise the price. Downtown St. George, Putnam's home, you sold it for $20,000 over the asking price?
$20,000 over asking.
$20,000 over the asking price because buyers bid against each other.
And in downtown St. George, they're selling for what the value is,
They are.
right? They're not.
Bingo.
They're not selling for an inflated value.
Yeah.
They're just selling for what they're worth.
Thanks, Robert.
Hey,
Let's
thank
go
you.
sell some real estate today.
Hey, why not?
Let's do it.
You've been listening to the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. For more information, call 275-1690 or online find them at soldinstgeorge.com.
Yeah, dude, just Google it. Okay, save.